Staff notation, also known as sheet music or musical notation, is a system used by musicians to write down and communicate music. It consists of a set of symbols and markings on a musical staff, which is a set of horizontal lines and spaces. In this tutorial, we will explore the basics of staff notation and explain its key functions. The musical staff. The staff consists of 5 lines and 4 spaces. Each line and space represents a different pitch or note. The lines and spaces are numbered from bottom to top. Clefs. Clefs are symbols placed at the beginning of the staff to indicate the range of notes. The most common clefs are the treble clef, used for higher musical notes, which represents the right hand, and the bass clef, used for lower musical notes, which represents the left hand. The clef determines the pitch of the notes on the staff. Notes. The pitches are in the form of small rounded shaped circles and they are called as notes. There are white keys and black keys in piano. The white keys are called natural notes. There are 7 natural notes: A, B, C, D, E, F and G. The black keys are either called sharps or flats depending on the white keys around them. Treble clef notes. Every note on a line is one of the natural notes. The first line note with a treble clef is E, and the second line note is G, and so on. The line notes of treble clef are E, G, B, D, F. It is easier to remember them by saying every good boy deserves food. A note between the lines are called space note. The first space note with a treble clef is F, and the second space note is A, and so on. The space notes of treble clef are F, A, C, E, which is easier to remember as phase. Memorize them and randomly practice them on empty sheet music. Once you finish, try naming the notes on the treble clef worksheet. If you notice, when you see the line notes and space notes together, they are in alphabetical order: E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Ledger lines are essential when the notes you want to notate fall outside the range of the staff lines and spaces. So the note below the first line note is D, and the note below D is with the ledger line in between the note C. See how the notes are shown with keys on the piano. Bass clef notes. The first line note with a bass clef is G, and the second line note is B, and so on. The line notes of bass clef are G, B, D, F, A. It is easier to remember them by saying good boy deserves food always. The first space note with a bass clef is A, and the second space note is C, and so on. The space notes of bass clef are A, C, E, G. It is easier to remember when you say all cows eat grass. Memorize them and randomly practice them on empty sheet music. Once you finish, try naming the notes on the bass clef worksheet. Again, if you notice, when you see the bass line notes and space notes together, they are in alphabetical order: G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. So the note above the last line is B, and note above B is with the ledger line in between is the note C. See how the notes are shown with the keys on the piano. Note values. Notes are the core elements of staff notation. They represent the duration and pitch of musical sounds. Different note types include whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, etc. The position of a note on the staff determines its pitch and its shape and stem, indicating its duration. A whole note. A whole note is also called as semibreve. A whole note is represented by an open oval-shaped note head without a stem. A whole note is the longest duration note in common Western music notation. It is equal to 4 beats in simple time signatures, example 4/4, representing a whole measure. Whole notes are often used to denote sustained or long-held notes in music. When you encounter a whole note, you should typically hold the note for the full duration of the measure. Half note. A half note is also called as minim. A half note is represented by an open oval shaped note head with a stem. A half note is half the duration of a whole note. In 4x4 time signature, a half note is equal to 2 beats. Half notes are commonly used to represent notes with a moderate duration. You typically play or sing a half note for 2 beats in 4x4 time. Quarter note. A quarter note is also called as crotchet. A quarter note is represented by a filled-in oval-shaped note head with a stem. A quarter note is 1/4 the duration of a whole note. In 4x4 time signature, a quarter note represents 1 beat. Quarter notes are the most common rhythmic values in music. In 4x4 time, each beat is typically represented by a quarter note. They are also used in various time signatures, serving as building blocks for rhythms. In summary, whole notes represent long-held notes, half notes are of moderate duration, and quarter notes are the basic units of rhythm in music. By understanding these note values and their relationship to beats and measures, musicians can accurately read and perform rhythms in sheet music. Time signature. The time signature is indicated at the beginning of a piece and tells you how the music is organized in terms of beats. It consists of 2 numbers. The top number indicates the number of beats per measure, and the bottom number represents the note value that gets 1 beat. Understanding different time signatures is essential for musicians as they dictate the rhythmic feel and organization of a piece. To begin, we will understand how 4x4, also known as common time signature C, works. Top number is 4, bottom number is 4. This is one of the most common time signatures in music. It signifies 4 beats in each measure with a quarter note, crotchet, receiving 1 beat. There are others also like 3x4 and 2x4. Measure or a bar line. A measure or a bar is a segment of music that contains a specific number of beats as determined by the time signature. The number of beats in a measure is directly related to the top number of the time signature. For example, in 4x4 time, each measure contains 4 beats. Measures are divided into beats, which are grouped together to create rhythmic patterns. The way beats are grouped can vary depending on the time signature. For example, in 4x4 time, beats are often grouped in pairs 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Measures create natural boundaries in music, making it easier for musicians to read and interpret the rhythm. It provides a sense of organization and structure to a piece. Middle C. Middle C is a crucial reference point in music notation, appearing in both the treble clef and bass clef. It's the C note that is approximately in the middle of the piano keyboard and is used as a common reference point for musicians. Middle C in treble clef. In the treble clef, middle C is located on the first ledger line below the staff. Middle C is represented by the note name C. It is positioned between the treble clef's 5 lines and the ledger lines below them. Specifically, it's just below the line representing the E note. On the piano keyboard, middle C is typically the white key located just to the left of a group of 2 black keys. Musicians often use middle C as a reference point for reading notes in the treble clef and for finding their bearings on the keyboard. It is a crucial note for the beginners and serves as a bridge between the treble and bass clefs. Middle C in bass clef. In the bass clef, middle C is located on the first ledger line above the staff. It is still represented by the note name C. In the bass clef, middle C is positioned just above the 5 staff lines and the ledger lines above them. On the piano keyboard, middle C is the same key as in the treble clef.